What's going on, guys? We are in the basement, and today we're talking about one of the best Vertigo titles ever, and that simply is Lucifer. Stay tuned. So what we have here is Mike Carey's masterpiece. It's a beautiful story about one of God's angels rebelling against God and trying to create his own path for himself, his own cosmos, if you will. The writing and art style are poetic and beautiful. It's just one of Vertigo's best titles, so let's check it out. An easy way to support the channel, guys, is by checking out that link right there where you can pick up my self-published comics and children's books directly from Amazon, either digitally or paperback, starting at only a couple bucks. Kicking it off here with the beautiful Omnibus #1. Both books collect a total of 75 issues. Lucifer Morningstar is a fictional superhero character and is an adaptation of Lucifer, the biblical fallen angel, and the devil of Christianity. And if you're religious in any way, you probably want to stay away from this one. He is one of the most powerful characters in the DC universe and first appeared in the pages of Sandman, Volume 2, Issue 4. The character was created by Neil Gaiman, Sam Keith, Mike Dinenberg, which later led to the spin-off series Lucifer that we're talking about here today. That being said, I highly recommend you start off reading from the start of the Sandman series, but if you, for some reason, want to jump in directly into this series, it's perfectly fine as well. There is an introduction at the start of this book that I highly recommend you read before starting, just to get a good feel of the character. Not the easiest storyline to follow. Now let's move on to the Lucifer character himself. After being dissatisfied with his heavenly duties, God offers him a role as Lord of Hell, which he ruled for 10 billion years. However, at some point, he becomes bored with his existence and position and various stereotypes, prejudices that mortals hold of the devil. He feels that it would be unfair to rule there forever. He expels all the demons and damned souls from hell, closes the Hell's Gate, and hands over the key to the Sandman. He also begins a war with heaven. The series starts off with Lucifer on Earth. He lives in LA. He runs a piano bar called Lux. He is portrayed as a sophisticated, charming man, a gentleman devil, if you will, who also shares a similar appearance to David Bowie. The overall theme of the series revolves around Lucifer's free will, going against the predestination of God and trying to create his own cosmos, worlds, life, etc. He rejects God's rule and normal philosophy as tyrannical and unjust and wants nothing to do with his creation pretty much. Heaven sees this as blasphemous, and all the angels hate him, including his own brother Michael. I found myself pretty confused reading this series, but overall things became clearer in time as the story progressed. The characters, feelings, intentions, backstory is pretty much explained throughout the 75 issues. Although in some cases you may have to get through the majority of the series before discovering certain key elements and character origins. There are many interesting supporting characters and story arcs that kept me on the edge of my seat. After the first 5 or 10 issues, it became a book I really couldn't put down. Some of the main characters include Lucifer's brother Michael, who is also an angel but is loyal to God, Elaine Belloc, a young girl with special powers and has much more importance to this series as well. Mazakine, who is kind of like a bodyguard to Lucifer. She is extremely loyal to him and is part of the Lilim, which are a large group of outcast children of Lilith. Lilith is also an important character who was cast out from the Garden of Eden and gave birth to millions of demons and creatures. Oh, and Mazikeen is missing half of her face, which she covers with a mask. Awesome. So many great religious story twists in this book. Absolutely love this series. These Omnis are a little bit expensive, but luckily I got them for about 40 to 50% off the cover price. Definitely recommend this one. Pick it up, give it a try. Unfortunately, the trade paperbacks can be a little hard to find at this point. Your best way of reading Lucifer right now is to pick up the omnibuses. Great quality books, great binding, easily stay open. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully by now you have a general idea of the character, what the story is about, some of the main characters. I would love to tell you more, but unfortunately I cannot. I think I probably already told you enough. If you're a fan of Neil Gaiman, the horror genre itself, dark gothic fantasy, I think you'll generally enjoy this book. It's pretty sophisticated writing, poetic at times. Sometimes I felt that I had to reread certain sections and pages just to understand where I was. Easily one of the best Vertigo titles, in my opinion. The only small minor complaint I do have with this series is the fluctuating art style. We have a few different artists working on this book, so you do see from time to time the art style changing. As the main story continues, I prefer to have it be consistent throughout, but with longer running series, I can see why that is. Anyway guys, until next time, thanks for tuning in and take care.